From strange alien sculptures to unexplainable stone tablets, here are 10 discoveries scientists can't explain. Number 10. Aztec alien sculptures. At the top of our list are the spooky alien statues recently found inside of a Mexican cave. According to a report in 2018 by The Sun, these horrifying alien statues supposedly date back thousands of years. They are some of the most freakish sculptures you have ever seen, as they depict human-like creatures with big elongated heads and large almond-shaped eyes. They look exactly like extraterrestrials, only they're wearing headdresses and other attire that looks shockingly Aztec. Supposedly, these mysterious sculptures and statues, some of which actually depict flying saucers, were found inside of a cave in an unspecified part of Mexico. The only evidence of these actually existing is from a short video that was uploaded to the internet and shows all the incredible archaeological finds. Of course, there's no hard evidence that these actually exist outside of this one video. This is one discovery I don't think anyone is going to be able to explain. What would sculptures of aliens and UFOs be doing in a Mexican cave? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Number 9. Roman Dodecahedrons. These bizarre Roman relics, known as Roman Dodecahedrons, are one of the most mysterious artifacts ever found, or they were. These bizarre metal trinkets go way back to the beginning of the 2nd century CE. They're crafted from stone or bronze, studded with tiny spheres, and they look like a piece fallen off of an alien mothership. They're complete with 12 holes, one on each side, and a variety of strange symbols. The real mystery here was that nobody fully knew what they were made for in the first place, until very recently. The first of these dodecahedrons was excavated in 1739, and since then there have been 115 discoveries of these bizarre items. Roman dodecahedrons have been found all over Europe, including Hungary, France, and Belgium. There have even been similar 12-sided artifacts discovered in Southeast Asia, but scientists still didn't know if they were related to one another. Considering that there's absolutely no mention or depiction of the dodecahedrons in any written historical record, nobody really knew what they were for. Previous to that, they looked just like a strange box-like metal piece that could have been used for some kind of primitive tool, or something greater. But it turns out they're just for helping you make socks. Number 8. Lake Winnipesaukee Mystery Stone. This is probably the coolest and most mysterious stone ever discovered. It was found first in 1872 in New Hampshire, and was discovered by workers buried underground in the dirt and grime. This story is something like out of an adventure book. After the workers found the curious stone, experts claimed it was an artifact meant to be a symbol of unity between early tribespeople. However, serious analysis of this bizarre egg-shaped stone revealed that its craftsmanship was way too precise to have been done by early peoples. You see, in 1994, when the analysis was done, scientists discovered that the way the stone was carved featured unusually precise drilling and bored holes that were far too regular for any prehistoric North American society to have done on their own. Plus, looking at the shape and smoothness of the stone reveals a lot. It does not look or feel like something made by primitive hands. The egg must have been drilled with a handheld tool from somewhere beyond the 19th century. Assuming this absolutely crazy buried treasure was not put in the ground by a hoax, scientists have no idea who could possibly have made and then buried this stone. Number 7. The Dogu figurines. Here we have some strange discoveries from the far eastern lands of Japan. The Dogu figurines are clay figures of what appear to be people, randomly shaped in size. These bizarre figurines have been found all over Japan. In fact, the word Dogu translates exactly to clay in Japanese. While these artifacts from prehistoric Japan may not appear that strange and mysterious just by looking at them, you should first know that there have been 18,000 figurines found to date, and each one is between 2,000 and 10,000 years old. That is a long period of time to be making the same kind of clay figurines for any pre-modern society. And while many experts believe the figurines are perfectly normal, and they're simply human effigies, there are others who believe the purpose of these figurines is much stranger. Some people claim the Dogu figurines are actually depictions of ancient alien visitors wearing spacesuits. They claim that this is the only explanation for the strange body shape of each Dogu figurine. because these were discovered so long ago, it's basically impossible to dispute these claims. Scientists don't know what these were used for. Experts believe they had something to do with Japanese Shintoism, only they were crafted millennia before Shintoism ever began. Number 6. Voynich manuscript. According to the National Geographic themselves, the Voynich manuscript is one of the biggest mysteries in cryptology. The book is a page-after-page enigma of boggling proportions. It's either a codex or a book or some kind of secret manuscript that is completely unbreakable. The truth is, nobody's been able to decipher the alien code of the Voynich manuscript. The manuscript first appeared in 1912, and of course it was named after its owner, Wilfrid Voynich. But the whole thing that makes this such a compelling mystery is that it's not a fake by any means. It's simply a coded manuscript that may or may not contain secrets of the universe, and nobody can figure out how to read it. Carbon dating revealed that the document was from the 15th century. Its pages are full of baffling imagery, and even more baffling script. There are zodiac symbols, nude women who appear to be doing all kinds of strange acid trip type things, and there are pages filled with otherworldly plants and symbols. Not only are the pictures in the book completely boggling to experts, but nobody can even understand the language that the document's written in. While some people claim that it's a hoax and that the language is just gibberish made up by the author, the experts say that that is unlikely. The language inside the manuscript has the same frequency and tone as other normal human languages. The chances of it being made up are very slim. But the question remains, will we ever find out who wrote the Voynich manuscript? And will we ever decode its mysterious pages? Number 5. The Bible. This might be the most controversial scientific conundrum to have ever existed. Sure, anyone with religious belief will certainly be adamant that the Bible itself was written, if not by God, then by nameless followers with God's word, with the books of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and more being written by Moses himself in 1300 BCE. However, since the first Bibles were discovered, the first of which began circulation around 300 CE, written entirely in Greek, with the New Testament first being distributed in letters to the churches around 50 CE, there's always been a question about who exactly wrote the words. It is true that no scholars or scientists can agree on exactly who wrote the Bible, or the separate books within the Bible, seeing as there's absolutely no evidence that Moses ever existed. 2,000 years, give or take, since its birth, this is still a historical enigma that nobody can figure out. Some scholars believe the Bible was a collection of stories pieced together by upwards of 40 different people from varying backgrounds, while many scholars believe each of the 4 books of the Gospel was written by an individual author with their own religious and political agendas at the time. Basically, this is a complex relic that not a single historian, scientist, or scholar agrees on. Number 4. The Nazca lines. If you're unfamiliar with the Nazca lines, they're a group of geometric shapes etched into the desert ground near Nazca, Peru. They encompass an area of about 200 square miles, and there are roughly 70 depictions of plants and animals, all of which can only be truly identified from the air. While these have been dated between the 4th century BCE and the 10th century AD, scientists and researchers everywhere are still boggled by their purpose. The Nazca lines are indeed one of the more interesting ancient mysteries on Earth. Most researchers agree that they had some kind of ritual astronomical function, but the truth is that nobody really knows for sure. One of the biggest mysteries, according to some fresh research that was published in 2019 in the Journal of Archaeological Science, is that many of the animals depicted were not found anywhere near where the Nazca lines were created. According to researchers, at least 16 of the bird depictions were from extremely far distances away, like one bird believed to be a pelican that never lived anywhere close to the desert where these early people would have created these lines. It begs the question of how exactly a group of people could have designed complex patterns based on an animal they'd never seen. Number 3. The Sphinx. The Great Sphinx is undoubtedly the most notorious monument in the world. In fact, it's the largest surviving sculpture from the ancient world, measuring almost 74 meters in length and 20 meters in height. The Sphinx sits in front of the Great Pyramid of Giza and is believed to have something to do with the sun god, especially since between the Sphinx's huge paws was once a temple that contained dozens of inscribed stelae that honored the sun god. The biggest mysteries are, who's the Sphinx supposed to depict? Who built it? And why? Despite dozens of Egyptologists ranting their own crazy theories, nobody knows exactly who built the Sphinx. Scientists can't even agree on when the Sphinx was built. There are rumors that the head was torn down and then recarved later on, and there are secret passages hidden beneath the Sphinx, and questions about why the bottom of the Sphinx appears eroded from flooding. The only thing known for sure is that the Sphinx is anywhere from 7,000 to 10,000 years old, and it is still a mystery. Number 2. The Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered somewhere between 1946 and 47 by a group of teens who were tending to their goats near the ancient settlement of Qumran, located slightly north of the Dead Sea. This region is known as the West Bank. When these young shepherds stumbled upon a cave in the side of a cliff, they discovered large clay jars that contained scrolls of the papyrus, which they used in ancient times for paper. Scholars soon discovered that these scrolls were over 2,000 years old. A treasure hunting boom ensued, and tens of thousands of scroll fragments were then retrieved from 10 additional caves. Together, the Dead Sea Scrolls make up roughly 900 manuscripts. It's generally agreed that the Dead Sea Scrolls were written between 150 BCE and 70 CE. However, exactly who wrote these scrolls is completely unknown. Many people think they were written by Jews who lived in that area at the time. But the truth is, nobody knows 100% who wrote these incredibly ancient and heavily mysterious scrolls. One of the scrolls even contained a treasure map, where roughly 64 gold caches were listed. Throughout all the manuscripts, most of the Hebrew Bible can be found, along with additional biblical manuscripts thought to be missing from the Bible. Number 1. The Crone statue. This is a spooky one. On January 9th, 2016, a man and his friend discovered the most disturbing statue ever inside of a cave in the Catskill Mountains. They had been hiking, and out of nowhere they found a small carved statue of an old crone sitting in a nook within a cave. The crone was dark and spooky, with a noose around her neck and nails hammered into her eyes. It was a truly bad omen, and nobody knows quite where the crone came from. In any case, the hikers took her home only to become, or so they claim, the victims of extreme paranormal activity. According to the hiker who took the statue home with him, it continued moving from place to place and emitted an incredibly strange noise. While at night, he heard banging and even knocking on his door. Even after reaching out to the public, nobody has any idea where the idol came from or who left it in the cave to be found. Thanks for watching this episode. Did you like the video? Tell us what you think in the comments below. And be sure to like, follow, and subscribe.